You are listening to the daily homily for Magdala in the Holy Land.
Jesus proposed a parable to the crowds. The kingdom of heaven may be likened to a man who sowed good seed in his field. While everyone was asleep, his enemy came and sowed weeds all through the wheat and then went off. When the crop grew and bore fruit, the weeds appeared as well. The slaves of the householder came to him and said, "Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where have the weeds come from?" He answered, "An enemy has done this." His slaves said to him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" He replied, "No. If you pull up the weeds, you might uproot the wheat along with them. Let them grow together until harvest. Then at harvest time, I will say to the harvesters, first, collect the weeds and tie them in bundles for burning, but gather the wheat into my barn." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I have to tell you that as a farming boy, I thought I understood all the implications of this parable, but I learned from a commentary last evening a couple of details I did not know about. And we have the wheat field with all the good wheat sown in the field. And then we have very evil people coming and sowing darnel in the field. Here it uses the word weeds, but the word that's apparently used originally, darnel or tares, is a type of also grass, like wheat. It looks like wheat, but it's different. And the thing that I learned was that actually the grains of the darnel are poisonous, and they cause headaches if it's mixed in with the wheat and ground and made into flour. And so it's a very evil reality. It's a bad thing for the human being. So that increases the horror of the weeds just beside taking up nourishment and wasting space in the crops. So it's a very negative thing. And obviously then the people who do that are very bad. And already this was recorded apparently in early tractates on agriculture. I checked that out then after the commentary, and I found that the earliest tractate on agriculture that we have from the Roman writer Cato, 2 centuries before Christ, talks about this weed. So it's interesting. I'm not sure how you see it, but maybe you have some politician in your country that you don't like, and is very negative and doing very bad things in the country. Or maybe you go to a public event, maybe it's televised all over the world, and you see some horrible things done that counter our faith, and you would like to get rid of these people. And we are asked here in this parable by Jesus to be patient with these weeds. We cannot go and root them up. And sometimes it's very challenging for us, depending on our temperament, our zeal. We could have 2 reactions that are very opposite, and neither of them is good. The one is to go out and uproot them and kill those people. Like you had some reactions years ago of people who came with guns to shoot people who were doing abortions. And we cannot endorse that procedure. It's impossible. But then you have other people saying it doesn't matter, and that's indifference. So we suffer when we see people actually doing bad things, like putting in bad programs into public events, into public broadcasting. And we feel very bad, and we feel that it's a very big danger for children, for all of us, because anytime we see anything bad, we are being affected by it. And every time we see something good, that lifts us up, because we are deeply influenced. The reality of influencers has been always in history. We just call influencers the ones that have big followings in the social media, but everybody's an influencer. You are an influencer. You're huge influences for these two kids, everybody in the family, every one of you. So it's amazing how then we have to learn to be patient and to suffer the presence of those who do evil. Obviously, society has to do something to disarm in the danger of life, but also I think we have to be very clever and intelligent in dealing with the reality. How do we defend the weak and the children and our own hearts and souls from these influences? Jeremiah brings another aspect into the equation, and that is, maybe sometimes we say, I am Catholic, so I am okay and I am good. And just because I am in the list of Catholics and I am registered as a Catholic and I do certain prayers and I do certain liturgies and I do certain actions, I am okay. But actually, already in Jeremiah 6 centuries before Christ, the request from God is to have interior docility, interior holiness, not just externals. They were happy to have the temple of God in Jerusalem. They said that will defend us. Their heart has to be for God. And this is probably one of the moments when we have the emergence of that deep interior holiness as a way of life. Not just external belonging through circumcision and through external rituals, but the human heart has to be transformed by grace. And the circumstances of our life change continually. They change all the time. So we are also faced with new choices. When somebody gets sick in the family, we have to adapt our schedule. It's a choice. We can't ignore the changing situations. We have to be able to address them, and with generosity, with humility. Somebody has been mean, I have to learn in this moment to forgive again somebody. So we are alive as believers. And we are alive as believers. It's a call for us to be transformed all the time. And so then when we encounter the presence of people that are really evildoers, we have the prayer in the Our Father, deliver us from evil. So what should the world do when big scandals happen? What should the world do when public life mocks our faith? There we need to pray. We need to do reparation. We need to align ourselves in our heart, from the depths of our heart, with God's presence in the world, in our communities, in the environment, in the culture. So we have a very big responsibility. We cannot just sit there and let the show go on. We have to be deeply transformed for action. We are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. We have to have this effect in the world. We are called to have this. And so let us ask God for the grace of patience to endure the evil that's present, not to lose our head over it, not to become extreme in our reactions, and at the same time to become holy and to respond, to open our hearts more and more to God, to belong to Him completely.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Magdala, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook.